Think about it long enough, and at a certain point a hospital building can become a really dark, scary place. For some people, they are the most terrifying places on earth, and for a valid reason. They can become full of pain, fear, and unfortunately accommodate somebody's deathbed. This is quite a negative connotation, but it is true. On the other hand, hospitals are also places where life happens, which means they are also places where there is hope. There are a number of people who work in hospitals who bring life in the form of warmth and happiness. In this video, hospital workers shared some of their creepiest stories while they were on their shift. Be warned, the following stories I am about to share with you are true events and may not be suitable for some viewers. Welcome back. Dark Recaps here. Before we continue, if you end up enjoying this video, please don't forget to drop a like and consider subscribing for more content like this. Otherwise, feel free to browse through some of the other videos on my channel. Let's begin. A near-death experience. Quote, I'm an ER nurse. I had an old lady come in by ambulance, near death. She was a DNR, so we weren't going to do much for her. She didn't have any family that we could find. The hospital was full, so we had to keep her in the ER for the night. Again, she was near death. When you've seen enough people die, there's no mistaking it, and she was almost there. Barely responsive, pale, cool, breaths were really irregular. Heart rate was up and down too. We just turned the lights down and kept an eye on her monitor, basically waiting for her to die. About an hour later, she's standing at the door of her room. She'd gotten up and put on all her clothes. We were all like, what the hell is going on? One of the nurses went to check on her, and she said she was hungry. Not knowing really what to make of things, we got her a chair, a bedside table, and went to the cafeteria and got her a tray of food. Lady sat there, ate all her food, and talked with the staff a little. After about an hour, she told her nurse that she was tired and wanted to lie back down. We helped her back into bed, and within 30 minutes, she was dead. Not exactly paranormal, I know, but in 22 years in busy-ass inner-city emergency department, it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. End quote. A man in black. Quote, I used to work in a skilled nursing facility. I was usually assigned to the Alzheimer's ward. One night, I'm in the linen room stocking my cart, and I heard someone shuffle up behind me. Then I felt a hand on my shoulder. I turned around, and there was no one else in the room. The door was still shut too. Another lady started to complain that a man was coming into her room at night. Again, Alzheimer's, so I didn't think much of it. So to reassure her, I told her I'd check on her throughout the night. She complained of this man every night for 2 more weeks when I asked her to describe him to me. He's real handsome and wears a black suit. Oh. He's right behind you now, honey. That freaked me the hell out. Of course, there was no one behind me. She died the next night in her sleep. End quote. Ghostly patient. Quote, I used to work in a personal care home. A couple of times, a day or so after a resident had passed, their call bell would go off in their room. No one was in the room when the call bell went off on any of the occasions. We had one resident die pretty traumatically. Nurses had to perform CPR because he was a full code. That night the midnight staff said they saw him at the end of the hall, just walking down like he always did. Then, the alarm on the door to the outside went off. Keep in mind it was a secured unit for Alzheimer's/dementia. It was the door he always tried when he was looking to get out. Just creepy. End quote. Ghost boy. Quote, this might get buried and is not really nurse related other than the fact my grandmother's nurse told me. My great-grandmother was 94 and just started suffering from dementia. She told the home nurses and me that there was a little boy in the corner of the living room who would taunt and tease my great-grandmother while laughing at her, telling her she was going to die. Well, at first it was a little disturbing, and we all shrugged it off because of her dementia. But then shit got real when my best friend came over with his little boy who was about 3 or 4. The little guy pointed over to the same corner and yelled, "I'm going to beat you up." When we asked him what that was about, he told us that he saw another little boy in the corner, and he is not nice. We flipped the hell out. I got shivers just typing this. Maybe Nana wasn't hallucinating after all. End quote. The Purple Reaper. Quote, I worked for a short time as an EMT who spent most of my time with transfers. I had a regular who was an older woman that I took to a dialysis center across town frequently. One day, she was being moved, and I was in the back with her. She looked under the weather, so I asked what was wrong, and she said a man in purple had been visiting her. I asked if he was a relative or a technician, and she shook her head. She said the man would sit next to her during dialysis and stroke her hair. Thinking this was strange, I asked the center techs about such a person, and no one had seen or remembered such a person. Visitors weren't really a thing at this center anyway, so I assumed the patient was imagining it. Well, one day we're actually heading to pick her up, and on the way into the parking lot, I see through the window something that chills my heart to think about. It sent shivers up my spine at the time, too, like I immediately recognized it, but I swear to God I saw a man in purple scrubs standing in one of the big windows watching us drive in, and when we pulled out of sight to go to the pickup door, we walked in to see a bunch of techs rushing to my transfer patient. The woman had just suffered a heart attack, and we were unable to revive her even at the hospital she was rushed to. None of the techs in that place wore purple scrubs. End quote. The Terrified Patient. Quote, a patient comes in coding. We are working on him, and we are getting nowhere, so we bring in his wife to say goodbye. She starts yelling at him at the top of her lungs, and he comes back. We arrange transfer to a tertiary hospital, and he codes again, so she comes back and yells at him again and comes back again. Cut to, they are loading him into the helicopter, and he codes again, so they bring him back into our ER after working on him for a bit on the helipad, and his wife yells at him again, and once again, he immediately comes back. Eventually, they decide to have his wife ride in the helicopter with him to make sure she can scare him back to life if he were to code again. The guy ended up living and received a heart transplant and is still alive to this day, all thanks to his wife scaring the life back into him. End quote. The Cat Ghost. Quote, I work in a cardiovascular surgical ICU. We have a lot of messed up people both physically and mentally that come through our unit. We had a stretch of nights where each corner room of our unit, it is a perfect square, reported seeing a cat walking around. Not a friendly cat either, apparently. The thing was hissing at them. The accounts were so similar to each other we actually spent probably a half hour looking around for a cat and then had security/plan ops come look as well. No cat was ever seen or found. 2 of those 4 patients coded the next day. End quote. The Haunted Hospital. Quote, my town has 2 really old hospitals. One no longer functions overnight, and the stories are unsettling. No one cleans the old ER alone, because all the lights and call bells go off. On other floors, there's a kid with his ball, a lady in a white dress, etc. A coworker was cleaning an entire floor utterly solo, which was the norm, and bounced between rooms because the cleaning solution stays wet for a few minutes. Upon returning to a freshly wiped bed, handprints were clearly visible. End quote. Have you ever experienced a ghost encounter before? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed your time here. Please consider leaving a like on this video. If you're hungry for more content like this, subscribe to me. Dark Recaps. Take care, and I'll see you guys next time.